Small, daily, disciplined decisions over time always equal monumental results. Success can't escape you when you do the right things every single day.
Hey, Ken Joslin here. How are you?
What's up, girl? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you for coming on the show and spending some time with me. I appreciate it.
I am super excited to have a conversation with you today.
Yeah. So just for the audience, for those of you who do not know who you are, I met Ken about a year and a half ago, and he is a phenomenal human being. He has done everything from pastor to mortgages to real estate to building a real estate team.
Yeah.
He has created a community and a mastermind of thought leaders and entrepreneurs that are top notch in the country. You're a coach, and you're just an amazing mentor to so many people. And first, I want to thank you for being that inspiration and a guiding light to so many that you really need it. So thanks for that.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's fun. I get to do, obviously you and your husband are part of our mastermind. We had an impromptu meeting at our good friend, mutual friend, Brent Gove's build event last year in Dallas with, I think, 4,000 or 4,400 other people in the real estate business. And we connected. I think me and my good friend were having some 1942, little Don Julio 1942 at the bar, just kind of hanging out, and ran into you and your amazing husband, Eric, and just struck up a conversation. And we won't get in trouble for telling people we snuck you into a VIP party you weren't supposed to be in, will we?
I don't know. I already confessed to the person who was holding the party, so I think we're
I love it. I love it. So yeah, I get to host. I started the #1 faith-based entrepreneur conference and mastermind in the country, and so you guys are a part of pretty much everything we do. We do Create, which is our entrepreneur conference twice a year in Atlanta and Dallas with friends like Vic Keller and Randy Garn and Gary Brecka and Brenda Bouchard and John Maxwell and Ed Milet and on and on and on and on and on. I'll throw some ladies in there. Amber Lago, who's been on your show. My good friend Marie Cosgrove, who's one of the top female CEOs in the country, about to exit for a lot of money. She's about to sell one of her companies, and she does well. So we do that conference we host twice a year in Atlanta in January and in Dallas in July. And then we get together for 3.5 days with about 4 or 5 dozen of the top entrepreneurs and business leaders in the country for our mastermind. Puerto Rico, you and Eric got to hang out with us in Scottsdale, Puerto Rico. We're going to be in Sundance, Utah in November. So we get together and we walk through our framework, is what we call our core 5, which is faith, health, relationship, business, and finances. And we literally start with faith and we work our way through the core 5 and help people and help each other become the best version of ourselves.
Well, and I you've been such an inspiration to us because, when we first met you, in all honesty, I didn't know where I stood with faith. There were a lot of things that happened in my life where I was like, I don't really even know if there is a God. Like, how could God let this stuff happen? That's where my mindset was. And in the short time that I've been part of your group with all of these amazing people, I've realized that actually faith has to come first, and put God first, then health, family, and then your business and your finances will fall in line. And it is 100% true. And that's a lot of it gave me inspiration to do this show. Yeah. So, and the show is really about showing people that no matter what you've gone through in life, traumatic experiences, death, divorce. I've had some really horrific stories of abuse that I've listened to people go through, but they've come out on the other end. And what we've realized is sometimes the things that seem like the most horrific thing in the world that you're going through ends up being the best thing that's ever happened to you. And life happens for you and not to you. And we all are just human trying to go through this experience. And sometimes you can't really make sense of it. But if you can, switch your mindset to what if this is my pivotal moment to do something and be something and show others love and guidance through their pain. That's what this is all about. So
yeah, which is why we started what we started. So we have, we always do better in community. We always do better surrounded by amazing human beings and great relationships who literally encourage and breathe wind in ourselves, because sometimes life can be tough, like you said, which is why I started what we did, which is what is probably one of the most fulfilling things I've done outside of my 4 daughters. One of the most fulfilling things I've ever done in my entire life was to be able to build this and watch the relationships, watch you, sit down next to some people that you didn't even know were going to be in the room, but you knew them and you wanted to do some of the things they were doing. And now to watch where you're at and watch where your husband's at, and just how God's kind of orchestrated and maneuvered you guys over the past almost year has been really amazing.
It's been amazing. But let's dive deep into Ken Joslin, who he is, and let's talk about the little boy and your childhood a little bit, and let everyone know that you were not hand delivered this amazing life, and you struggled just like everybody else to get there. So tell me a little bit about your childhood.
Yeah, well, my childhood, parents got divorced when I was 8 years old. And this by coming to Create, I bring one or two of my therapists has spoke at each of my Create conference every year. And a lot of people go, can you have a therapist? And I really believe it's not for us. It's not just helping business leaders, build confidence, gain clarity, and create community. It really is. I know that part of my call that God has on me is to normalize therapy, because when people think of therapy, they're like, oh, something's wrong with you. You have a therapist? No, I don't have a therapist. I have 2. Sometimes I have 3. I don't just have, people are like, they just laugh when I say that. Right? You're laughing. I mean, your audience right now is probably like, oh, okay. Because the reality of it is therapy is it's just preventive maintenance. When you buy a new car, as a matter of fact, while I was in Texas, I had my Range Rover out there. I had to take my car to the dealership because it was time to get its oil changed. You get your oil changed so your car runs at peak performance. You don't wait until your engine locks up to go, oh, hey, by the way, need to go get my oil changed, because then it's too late. And so every single one of us needs somebody in our lives, or 1 or 2 people that have a 10,000 foot view, who can really look at what's going on objectively, and really speak into and help us scientifically, spiritually. I'm a Christ follower, to be able to speak into our life from a faith-based perspective of where we are in the journey, to be able to help us navigate what life looks like, because life can be tough. So a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, I walk into Maxine's office. Maxine is one of my therapists. She's in Birmingham, Alabama. And if you've ever seen any of the Medea movies, Maxine's about a step below Medea. She is an unbelievably funny, older Black lady who doesn't put up with any BS. And she'll ask, I walk in the office, she's like, how you been doing this week? How you and Jesus doing this week? You and Jesus doing okay? I'm like, yes, Maxine, me and Jesus are doing great this week. And I walked in the office in my first visit. I sit down and she says, share your story. And this is where we're at right now in this interview. And I said, parents got divorced when I was 8. I was born in Detroit, raised in Pontiac. Mom moved us from the Detroit area to the Atlanta area when I was in the 2nd grade. From the 6th grade, my 6th grade year in elementary school, to my senior year in high school, I moved back and forth to my dad's 6 different times. I went to 12 schools. I went to 6 different high schools. And my entire life, I wore that as a badge of honor. Like, man, I've got friends everywhere. You can drop me in any environment, doesn't matter. And I can make friends and fit in and be one of the people that people love to be around, encourage people, love people, make people laugh, make people feel like anything in their life's possible. And so I'm sharing this story with Maxine, and she looks at me and she goes, honey child, why'd you want to move so many times? And I looked at her and I said, Maxine, I didn't have a choice. I said, if I ever got in trouble, my mom would tell me to go pack my bag. Then I had 24 to 48 hours, and I was on a plane, a bus, or my dad was on the way from Michigan to pick me up. And I never forget, I'm sitting in her office. She's writing in her journal, and she looks up and she asked me a question that was the second biggest aha moment in my life outside of the day I made a commitment to follow Jesus. And she said, Ken, how do you think that's had an effect on your relationship with the women in your life who are supposed to love and protect you? And I never forget, I said, I lost it. I started, I mean, I wasn't crying. I was bawling, and I'm crying. And the reason was I went back to 3 weeks before that appointment. I was in the car with a woman that I love dearly she lives in Northern California. She had picked me up in the airport in San Francisco. I just flew into town. We got in the car. We didn't even make it out of town and across the Golden Gate Bridge to go into Santa Rosa. We had an argument. I got triggered. I made her pull the car over. I got my suitcase and I left. And in one instance, all of those things came full circle for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, here's a 53-year-old man living out the trauma of a 13-year-old boy, except now the woman's not going to tell me I have to leave. I'm going to leave on my own before she tells me I have to leave, so I can avoid that pain. And I've been doing it my whole life, my entire life.
Protecting yourself. 40
years I had lived with that trauma and had no idea that trauma was a part of my life. And so part of, which is, it's just not funny. Part of faith, health, relationships, business, and finances, our core 5 inside of GSD, in that health and relationship component, is me making and helping people become aware of unresolved trauma that's probably in their life that they have no idea is there. Right. Do you know how many times I've been to therapy? I was married for 27 years. I pastored for 13 or 14 years. I've been in more therapy appointments than I can tell you. I mean, when I was pastoring, I went and I made my entire staff go to therapy once a month, just to have somebody with a 10,000 foot view that can help them navigate their life, because it's hard. And here I was 40 years later going, oh my gosh. Yeah. I've been living with this and I had no idea.
Yeah. You don't know. And you get triggered by the same thing over and over again. And you're so used to it, putting up that wall, that protective layer, so you don't get hurt again, that you're destroying relationships all around you. And you don't even know that you're doing it. And you're the cause. You're like everyone else. They're just out to hurt me. But
one of the things that Dr. Rob Kelly, who was a good friend and a therapist of mine as well, Dr. Rob, I'll never forget him telling me, Ken, your trauma is not your fault. Like, this is not your fault. You did not do this to yourself. Your mother's role was to protect you, and she did not. This is not your fault. But now that you understand that you have this trauma, it's your responsibility to work through the healing process, which I've been on now for over a year and a half.
Yeah.
And it's been an unbelievable journey. And it literally was one of the components and one of the moments that helped me go, oh, wow, now I'm finding healing, my own healing from trauma, which is now impacting my relationships in a very positive way. I want to incorporate this in what I do with business leaders and business owners. So which is where we came, which is where the core 5 was derived from. Faith, health, relationships, business, and finances. And it's been an unbelievable journey. And the stories that I get from people who hear me speak, or Lauren, you've heard Lauren, my therapist, speak, when Lauren Zoller gets up and she shares about compatibility and the masculine and the feminine and polarity, Or I bring guys like G.S. Youngblood, who wrote a book called The Masculine Relationship. And he talks about holding space for your partner as a man, holding space for the feminine, because God created women to be emotional creatures, and they can go from 0 to 100 quick. And it's our role to hold space. And I'll never forget reading his book and Gabby Bernstein's book as well. Gabby Bernstein's phenomenal. Read
I'd
Gabby
love to
Bernstein.
get her on this show one day.
Phenomenal. Gabby Bernstein, where she talked about how if you try to defend or explain, it's a sign of unresolved trauma. And I'm thinking, every time I got triggered, or every time the female or the partner in my life said something that triggered me, my first inclination was to explain why they were wrong or defend why I didn't do what they said I did.
Right.
And I'm going, oh my gosh, I do it every single time. And then I don't know if you were on this call on that Wednesday night where we were on our GSD community call, where I was talking about how when, you've got your two partners, the masculine and the feminine, when the feminine gets elevated, the moment as a man in your masculine, you don't hold space and give your partner space to feel safe, seen, and heard, and you get elevated, the moment you do that, then it's a train wreck's waiting to happen.
Right.
Because then she's going to get elevated, you get elevated, and before you know it, it's a disaster. But the moment you get elevated and you don't hold space, you rob from your partner the one thing that I needed, that I never got from the mother of my daughters, or from any other relationship before or after, which was for my partner to go, hey babe, you know what? I'm really sorry that I said that to you.
Right.
I'm sorry. I came at you and it wasn't your fault, because sometimes it's not even about you, but as a man, you want to defend or explain, or you want to fix it.
Right.
And when I learned to just hold space and go, oh, wow.
Right.
I can hold space. When that hit me back in January of 2023, I sent an email. I screenshotted my notes out of G.S. Youngblood's book and Gabby's book. I sent that to the mother of my daughters that I was married to for 27 years with a 2-paragraph apology. Hey, I didn't even know how to do this, and I'm really sorry. I didn't know how to hold space for you. And I also sent one to the girl that I dated when I was in San Francisco. That I got out of the call. I sent her one at the same time. Like literally said, hey, this is what I've learned. I'm super sorry. I can't even imagine how that made you feel. Yeah. And I'm really sorry. I didn't know any better. And now I do.
Well, it takes a big person to take responsibility when they recognize it rather than run away. And if you can face it, then your relationship, you don't have to make amends, right? But they can move on then, so that part of them that was hurt during that process can now start healing. So, and you can forgive somebody, but you don't have to have them back in your life.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing is, when you realize, oh my gosh, I bet I did this, and I bet this hurt this person. When you ask someone to forgive you, you're done with the situation. Like, between you and God, you've done what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Whether or not they are in a position or willing to forgive you or not is not up to you. Right. All we owe that individual that we have a relationship. I don't care if it's a spouse, an ex-spouse, a partner, an ex-partner, a friend, a family member. All you owe them is a heartfelt, man, I am so sorry that I did this. I can't even imagine how bad that hurt. And I just want you to know that I'm sorry. And I just pray you forgive me.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
I think asking for forgiveness, or for actually forgiving yourself, is one of the biggest things, because I know I was so terrible to myself, to Jill, because of the hurt that I had before. So you have to forgive yourself as well. Give yourself some grace. So
here's one way. Here's one way you can tell if you have unresolved trauma. Because think about it this way. The way you forgive yourself is the way you forgive other people. So whatever lens you use with yourself, which is why faith is so important, and which is why faith is so important to me, because when you understand, there's a scripture reference in the book of Matthew where Jesus talks about he who has been forgiven of much forgives much.
Yeah.
When you understand what God's forgiven you of, it's easy for you to extend forgiveness to other people, because you go, man, he's forgiven me of everything that I've done.
Right.
How can I not then offer that same forgiveness to other people in my life?
Right.
But if you have a hard time forgiving other people, number one, it's usually the same lens that you use with yourself.
Yeah.
And if you have a hard time forgiving yourself, it's usually because of unresolved trauma that you may not even recognize or may not even know that's there.
Right. So let's go back to your childhood. I mean, obviously middle school, high school was crazy for you. You learned how to make friends, but what about school? Were you successful in classes? Barely made it.
I was successful when it came to, hey, you can't play basketball unless you make this grade.
Right.
You can't play baseball unless you make this grade.
It was all about the sport.
Okay. Yep. I got it. Yep. I can do that. And then I would, whatever grade point average I had to have to be eligible is what I did. And outside of that, I was like, I didn't see the need, and it just wasn't something that stimulated me. Or, my sister, I've got two younger sisters. My middle one, valedictorian of her high school. My youngest sister, salutatorian of her high school. And they're brilliant. My dad's is a genius IQ. I tell people all the time what I learned from my pastor. So you have to put cookies on the bottom shelf for me. I'm like, I don't necessarily get that. Yeah. But when it comes to, one of the things I did get out of that, all the journey in 12 schools and in 12 years and 6 different high schools, was a lot of what I would call street sense or common sense. I've learned how to, and EQ. I have a very high relational EQ now. And that just comes from years of building relationships and making mistakes. And then learning how to, if I've made a mistake, how do I repair and shift and correct that?
So at what point in your life were you like, I'm going to use, I think I heard you on stage once, and it just sticks in my head, and I'm probably chopping this up. But you said something that you use your past pain to
affirmations.
Yeah, to help heal others through their pain. So you were a pastor, so I know that's been a part of your life for so long, is helping others. How did you make that decision to bring God into your world and then become a pastor and help other people?
Yeah, my next door neighbor, right after I'd gotten married in 92, was a student pastor at a local smaller Southern Baptist church right outside of Atlanta, and had been inviting me, like, no, I don't do that. It's not what I do. It's not what I do. And then another friend of mine that I played softball with every weekend also went to the same church, and they kept inviting me. I went in August of 93, and August 22nd of 1993, I gave my life to Christ. And there's the first scripture that I've memorized is 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if anyone's in Christ, he's a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. And that was the first scripture I memorized. And I'll never forget, I got baptized the next weekend, August 29th. And then the next Sunday, the first Sunday in September, my pastor had asked me to come play basketball. Now, I grew up in Pontiac, Michigan, playing basketball. I talked trash, I cussed, and I fought a lot. That's what we did. I mean, I literally grew up. My dad worked for General Motors. I grew up in the hood. And it was down and dirty basketball, right? And I'll never forget going there thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to cuss somebody out. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get in a fight at my pastor's house. And I remember coming home, and Christy said, how'd it go? And I'm like, it went great. We had a great time. I didn't even cuss. And then I'm like, I haven't cussed in 2 weeks. Like, literally, Jill, it wasn't even something I had to work on. It was something God took. He immediately took it away from me. Wow. And I was in the military. I grew up in Pontiac. My language was not good. It was probably about as bad as it could get. Right. And it was gone immediately. God took it from me immediately. He took it from me. I didn't have to work on it. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to pray about it. It was gone. And it was just one of those things. And that's one of the things where I'm like, oh, okay, God, this is really real. And he changed my life in such a way that all of the people around me started coming to faith because they saw what happened in my life. And they were like, wow, this dude is a different dude. And so that was kind of the start of the journey. And then that was in 93, what we're 2023. That was 30 years ago. It was 30 years ago, August the 22nd. So just a couple of weeks ago was 30 years. And it's been an unbelievable journey. And then, in this part of my life, as I lead GSD, with we're doing a 21-day challenge right now on extraordinary habits. And one of those habits for me in the morning is goals, gratitude, affirmations, and top 3. So in my affirmations, you mentioned it. One of my affirmations is I am whole. I choose to use past pain to help others find healing.
I love it.
And you know this too, Jill, with you and Eric and some of the things you guys have been through, because just in the last year with what's happened in your life of uprooting from San Diego, moving to Hawaii. I mean, people looked at you guys like, you're crazy. You're going to do what? And you've done all that you've done. And it was hard. I remember walking you guys through and counseling you guys through and just going, hey, this is what you need to do. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. You're like, I don't know if I can keep doing it. But the reality of it is now if somebody comes to you and goes, we really feel like God's asked them to do something crazy, and this is what it is, what can you do now? Boy, you want to talk about helping them guide. Our good friend Vic Keller, I don't know if you saw Vic's Instagram last week. Vic's, he's one of the most successful, he's one of the most successful businessmen in the country.
Yeah.
And he said last week, he said it in Dallas, but it's a clip from Create in Dallas, where he goes, you don't need a guru, you need a guide.
Yes.
But now you and Eric can guide people through that, whereas before you couldn't. So take your pain and purpose the pain.
Right.
You know what? I grew up like this. I'm gonna, and you don't even have to find people. I'm telling you, as a person of faith, God will send the right people in your life for you to be able to go, oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
Let me share my story with you so they can find hope. They can find encouragement. And you can also say, hey, there's a landmine or a pothole right ahead of you on the road that you don't know is there, but I see it because I've already traveled down that road. Let me help you avoid that.
Yeah. Like you said, the past year has just been insane since we actually brought faith in and you and that community into our worlds. We were on a great path. I mean, successful path. We were doing fine. There was nothing wrong with it, I should say. But I knew it wasn't exactly what I was meant to do. I knew from a young child that there was more to life and there was more out there, and I was meant to help other people. And although I love selling houses and love helping agents, raise their game in their career, there was always something missing. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something else. And then I met you and the community and started just surrendering to the universe, right? I just surrendered myself to the universe. And I said, guide me to what I'm supposed to be doing. And the universe, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it, guided us with the right people, the right timing, and everything was just kind of it was just delivered to us. Opportunities started coming our way that I would have never had living in my little world before. And I stopped saying no to things, and I stopped thinking too much. What if? What could happen next? What could go wrong? And then you talk yourself out of things rather than just saying, what if I just said yes? Right. And then every time you say yes, another door opens and another door opens and another door opens. And I wasn't planning on having this Beyond Boundaries show. And it was just presented to me like, Jill, this is your path. And if I could just help a couple of people realize and not have to go through the pain of figuring it out on their own, then we've done our job.
I got a call this morning from a young man that was in my youth ministry 20 years ago. And he's finished med school, had some issues getting his medical license. And the board in Georgia called back and said, "Hey, we want to give you another shot at getting your medical license." And he called me and he's like, "Pastor Ken," he goes, "What do I do?" And I haven't talked to Adam. I haven't talked to this kid since he got married, probably 15, 16 years ago. It's been a long time. I haven't talked to him at all. And he reached out to me and he was like, "What are your thoughts?" And I was like, "Well, what would you use because he's like, I can go be a doctor and make less than 100 grand or struggle to make 100 grand. Nobody's going to like me." And I'm like, "Dude, it doesn't sound like this is what you want to do. So if you got your medical license, what would you use it for?" He goes, "Just kind of a resume builder." And I said, "Well, dude, what do you want to do? What are you passionate about? What's your why?" You know what he said?
What?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. And I was like, okay. And so what I did was, and for anybody that's listening and watching this show today, I'm going to tell you this right now. That's okay. It's not only is it okay, it's part of your journey. Right. It's part of the process. You don't have to have everything figured out all the time. Right. Just be like, "You know what? I'm not sure what I'm passionate about." You did that. You literally did. I watched you guys walk through the last 14, 15 months of that. I'm not really sure what this looks like. Right. Okay, I think we might move to Hawaii. But hang on a minute. What are we thinking? Move to no. We can't do it. Go to Hawaii. You run into a guy who's remodeling a house who hasn't even put it on the market yet, and you wind up buying that house. Like all the things that have happened are like, no, that's things that movies are made of. No, not at all. It's things that people who go, "Oh man, God, I feel you nudging me to do this, and I'm going to do it." Yeah. That's what happens. You want to talk about doors and excitement, and it's not always great doors that open. Sometimes the door opens, you're like, "Ooh, don't like that door. There's an angry dog on the other side. Let me shut that door." Sometimes it's not always good. But man, isn't it amazing to be able to get up in the morning and be like, "Yes, I'm living my life the way, the passion, the way, the desire that I believe that God's put in my life for me to become the best version of who God created me to be."
Yeah. And it's listening to the right voice, because we have voices, in our head all the time, just chit chat. And then we have that voice, that inner voice, that intuition, that your heart is telling you to do something, and it's paying attention to that voice and not the ego that says, you can't do that. You don't have experience. What makes you think you could do that? Right. You're not smart enough. You're not good looking enough. You don't know anything. Yeah. No, you listen to that inner gut that says, yes, it's pulling you in a direction, and you follow that. And that's how you've spent your life.
Which is another reason why I started the community, because a lot of people, it's fun to be able to walk into Create Conference with, we had 350 people in Atlanta, 160 in Dallas. First time we were in Dallas in July. It's fun to be able to walk in the mastermind where there's 40, 50, 60 people. And when you share an idea, they don't look at you. In the South, we would say like a cow at a new gate. They're like, "What are you talking about?" Like you share your idea and they're like, "That's awesome. Well, how can I help you do that?" Not instead of like, and this is tough because a lot of people, you go to your family members and you're like, "Hey, we're going to sell everything we got in San Diego. We're going to move to Hawaii." You go, "What?
Are you nuts?"
Yes, exactly. Are you crazy? I love what you said just a minute ago. It was good. Yeah. Life was good. You and Eric are together. Your kids are doing great. Your business it's good.
Yeah.
But like Jim Collins wrote, good is the enemy of great.
Yeah.
Like there's more out there.
Yeah.
And when you start living a life where you're like, "Okay, God, open doors and I'll walk through them." Okay, Holy Spirit, speak to me on what you want me to do. And when you speak, I'm going to obey.
Yeah.
Because other people around you are like, "What?" Which is why I started GSD. So we could have a community of people where when you share something, when you share a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal, they don't look at you like you've got 5 heads. They're like, "Oh, okay, that's awesome." And if you share a goal that's not high enough, then they in turn challenge you to dream bigger.
Right. Yeah. And they encourage you and they love you and they say, what can I do to help you get there?
Yeah.
Instead of, well, that was my idea, I need to squash their idea so I can get ahead. Or
Right.
it's no egos in the room, nothing but love. When you walk into your community, you don't feel anything. And then we're dealing with some people are billionaires,
Mhm.
and they don't look at the people that are just starting out in business. I mean, you have kids in your group that are in, teenagers and
Yeah.
20-year-olds that are just starting out, that barely know how to get enough money to pay, for their gas.
Mhm.
And those billionaires
Mhm.
reach their hand out and say, how can I
Absolutely.
help you? Instead of making fun of them or putting them down. Or, I mean, it's all just encouragement and love. And it's amazing.
The thing is, and people ask me all the time, how do you get such amazing people around you?
Mhm.
And I have amazing, amazing friends. And people also ask, how did in the world Grant Cardone and I were close for a while. I still love Grant. I wouldn't be where I'm at without him. He helped me, like literally was the guy that kind of sparked me to
Uh-huh.
go, I was in ministry, pastoring a church. Let me take that. Let me incorporate that in the business world and do for faith-based entrepreneurs. Let me do this. That was kind of the catalyst for me. And people go, why does Grant, back in the day, I'm speaking down at 10X, I'm speaking to his team, I'm on all of his Instagram lives, he's pulling me in and he's promoting me like crazy. They're like, why did he do that? It's because when he gave me advice or information, I ran with it and I did what he said I needed to do.
Mhm.
And some of the people that are in our mastermind, like Gary Brecka and Vic Keller and Randy Garn and Marie Cosgrove, and all these people are uber successful in business. They want you to succeed.
Yes.
And when they get around people who are teachable and coachable, and they give you information or they offer wisdom, and you take it and run with it, that's that for them. That's fulfillment.
Yeah.
And when you have someone that's that successful and that amazing of a human being, and they give you information, use it, take
Absolutely.
it, run with it,
Absolutely. Write
act on that
note, take
information.
your notes. I
Yeah.
have pages and pages and pages of notes that I've taken from being in,
Yeah.
the create and the mastermind. And I mean, books. And it's not even been a year, and it's
Just like this.
books of notes.
Yeah.
So anything that I can get from these people who have made
Mhm.
it,
Mhm.
I take. And it's a great community.
Mhm.
And so let's talk a little bit about what your daily routine is like when you wake up in the
Mhm.
morning. Do you jump out of bed excited and happy to start the day? Or are you like, oh, another day?
Probably 6 out of 7 days. I do. Probably 6 out of 7 days. I say if you need an alarm clock to get out of bed, your goals aren't big enough.
Yeah.
Like what are you going after? Like we had
Mhm.
this question on our call Wednesday night as we
Mhm.
started this extraordinary habits 21-day challenge.
Yeah.
People are like, well, do I set these goals that are so huge that it's almost going to be impossible? And then I'm mad at myself if I don't get them done. And I'm like, well, why would you be mad at yourself? I mean, if you made 200 grand this year and you said, I want to make 1 million, and you only
Mhm.
made 450 and you doubled what you made last year, why would you be mad at yourself?
Right.
But, and I shared a quote that one of my mentors, Ron Luce, taught me 25 years ago. It's better to aim for the moon and make it halfway than it is to aim next door and make it.
Right.
Like, what are you going after? So yeah, I get excited. My morning routine today was no different. My alarm actually caught me today because I was out a little late. And I was celebrating my Detroit Lions beating up on the Kansas City Chiefs on the first opening
Awesome.
game this year, because that doesn't happen. I was born in Detroit. I've been a Lions fan for 50 years, and we've sucked for 50 years. Outside of watching Barry Sanders and maybe Calvin Johnson, we've been terrible. And so that was fun last night watching them beat the defending Super Bowl champs. So I'm up. I'm up in the morning. My alarm goes off. And my morning is very regimented.
Mhm.
Before I go to bed, my pre-workout's made and mixed. It's in the refrigerator. My workout clothes are laid out in my room. I'm up at 4 a.m., 4:30 last night. I think I said at 5 I was up at 5 this morning. I was up at 5 a.m. this morning. I go straight to my iTunes. I play some worship music. I screenshot whatever song I want that morning. I put it on my Instagram page, add some music to it with a little slider with the hands going, yeah, with the little hands up. So if you see that slider, let me give you some Instagram knowledge. Every person that does any of those interactions, it actually increases and opens a bigger window for more people to see your stuff because they engage on your post. That's why we put those on there.
Oh, nice.
That's why
Good,
they're
helpful
on there.
hint.
Just so people know that's why they're on there. So I do that in the morning. I go right over to my YouVersion app. I do my quiet time. I'm going through the book of Hebrews right now. I actually, this morning when I'm done, as soon as I'm done listening to the devotional and listening to the scripture, I send that to my guys. I've got a group of guys, I talk about a lot on my text thread. I send that to them. This morning, I sent one of the verses with it as well. And then it wasn't, I don't know, 5 minutes and Randy Garn's sending one of his quotes over, and then Brian Covey's showing all of his abs getting through working out in Nashville. And Brent goes, he's either on a golf course or at the beach or on somebody's yacht all the time. So it's just, so then it just starts, then we just start communicating back and forth. From there, I'm right here. I'm literally right here sitting at my desk. Goals, gratitude, affirmations, top 3. I'm working on we're in our 21-day challenge. So I'm getting that done. And then it's off to the gym. I come home. Most of the times I shower. I haven't showered from this morning yet. I just threw a golf polo on because I have not stopped all day. And it's after lunch. I still had breakfast, and then I dive right into my work day, usually about 7 a.m. Usually at 7 a.m. I've already recorded a podcast, and I'm jumping on one of however many meetings I've got that day with my team. And then I'll do some sales, and I'll work till 4:35. Today's Friday night, so I may work out a little bit later tonight because I don't have plans. But that's, so my morning routine is very regimented. My good friend John Maxwell says, show me your daily routine and I'll show you, or I'll tell you how successful you're going to be. The routine, I'm telling you, that's why we're doing the 21-day extraordinary habits challenge. Is if you can do every single day for 21 days and establish a habit for us in our planner, goals, gratitude, affirmations, top 3. You start doing those every day for 21 days, and then show up on our coaching calls Monday morning, Wednesday night, and then jump into our Facebook community page and shoot a video of, hey, I did one. I haven't posted mine today, but I have it. Hey guys, here's my planner. Here's what I got going today. Boom, post it on there. And what it does, it holds people accountable to, I need to do these things. My habits in the morning need to be the first thing I work on, because once you get them to become a habit, you don't think about it. You just do it. It's automatic. And that leans into the concept I created about 3 years ago when I started my health journey of incremental, not monumental. Small, daily, disciplined decisions over time always equal monumental results. Success can't escape you when you do the right things every single day.
I love that. I love that reminder. I try to do one thing every once in a while to get myself 1% better. And about 45 days ago, I started taking ice cold showers.
Yes. Come on, girl.
Oh my gosh.
It's painful sometimes.
It is sometimes.
It's taking your breath right now, ain't it?
Easier. It does not get
sometimes it's easier. Last year I cuss Gary Brecka probably 5 days a week. Sometimes I'll even take a video of it while I'm in the shower. I'm like, dude, I can't stand you. I hate you, Gary Brecka.
Yeah.
For those of you guys who are in a mastermind and know Gary, you understand what I'm saying.
He's actually, I think I've been talking to Sage, and I think they're going to come on our show. So
I'm excited
about that.
Yeah. So last year when in Birmingham, we had a couple of days, we were down around 20 degrees, and I went and worked out and came back and jumped in the subdivision pool.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's so cold.
You want to talk about cold? It was cold. Oh, it was cold.
So cold. But it's supposed to be, it's so good for you. It regenerates your cells. It wakes me up. My brain works better. And it's like it's one of those things that you don't have to do, but you're getting out of your comfort zone. So, you can do hard things. And when you do that in the mornings, you're like, I can do anything if I can do this. At 6 a.m.
And you cuss Gary Brecka the whole time. You're in
the entire time.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's good. Cold shock liver proteins, all the stuff that Gary teaches on. It is an unbelievable part of your morning.
It's brutal. So, but it's just those little things getting, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, your life can get comfortable.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being on this call so much. And thank you. And I will put your contact information if anybody wants to reach out and maybe join your community. And, thank you for everything that you do and all of the people that you inspire. So I love you, Ken.
You're welcome. Can't wait to see you guys in Sundance, Utah in November. We're going to have a blast.
Yep. A couple months away. We'll see you on the next call.
Love you, girl.
Okay. Love you.